Hey there, folks. How's it doing? Welcome to the Sounds Like Liberty podcast. I'm your host here, Nikki P, with my lovely wife and beautiful co-host, Lizzie. How we doing, babe?
Doing okay.
We're going to do another round on this because somebody forgot who we were talking about.
I thought I knew who we were talking about, and apparently the who we were talking about was not the who I thought we were talking about.
There's too many of these episodes. We're too far ahead because we got to get caught up for December when you have to go to work and we can't record anymore. But, you know, if you're listening to this, it means that when I entered Florida, the entire world did not break up. I think of it like an ice cube entering the boiling pot where everything cracks because of it. And that didn't happen because we're still here if you're listening.
Yes.
We got ourselves a fun interview today. We have Mr. Nick White. I believe he's the producer over at the Status Quo podcast. We had a fun interview with him. We discussed a little bit about living up in upstate New York because he kind of grew up, at least for a little while, where I grew up. Perhaps at slightly different times. Although there is some crossover, I definitely know some of the musical projects he was working on at the time.
Which is always interesting because you guys were kind of in the same scene, sort of.
Technically, that band would have been before he moved there, I think.
In different spots and different times. Just kind of sliding doors thing. You missed each other.
Yeah.
It was interesting to hear you guys talk about the scene because you guys just kind of kept going off on these tangents about how things were, and I was not privy to any of that, so it was an interesting slice of life.
I'm going to be honest, at that point in time, Liz, you were an adult, you had a husband, you had a house. These are not teenage things for me.
I was doing a lot of church.
Yeah. If you like what we talk about and you want to know more about the stuff that we talk about, obviously check out soundslike.liberty.com or ancapmusic.com, where you can get all the show notes. You can go and support the show. You can find ways to do that outside of just, sending us money. We do have crypto options now, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, but you can also, like the show, give us a review. Just hit us up on Facebook or Twitter because we love talking to people.
You do.
And actually listen to the show.
And go and become friends with us on Goodreads because we both like reading.
Yes, we are nerdy book people.
So let's listen to this song and then we'll get into the show. Welcome, Mr. Nick, and he's Nick White, the white man.
What is up? Yeah, white. I'm white. What's up, everybody?
It's the part that he likes to lead with is the whiteness.
Okay.
My co-host is offended.
No, I'm not.
Sorry about that. What's up, guys?
It's all good.
So, what do you tell my guests why I know who the hell you are?
Well, I am the producer and co-host of a podcast called The Status Quo, which, you can find us at thestatusquo.net. But, we're kind of a newer podcast, and my host is an Iraq war vet. So we just talk a lot about anti-war, pro-liberty stuff. If you're a fan of Scott Horton or kind of Dave Smith, it'll be up your alley. So.
What's funny is you say the anti-war vet thing. I think that's actually not what not what he leads with most.
Yeah, I
think he leads with the side that he spent on the other side of the criminal justice system.
Oh yeah,
I think he spends more time talking about the time he did than being a service member.
Yeah, he's definitely gone into that. Because he went on Lions of Liberty and Felony Friday and stuff. But I don't know. I think he just kind of wants to give you the whole package because we're both so anti-state that he's got like the perfect example of.
Well, that's what I was getting at, is like the fact that, I mean, he's not the only soldier I know who, I want to be honest, it's a fairly common tale. You come back, you get involved with drugs, and do some time. Like, that happens to a lot of those boys.
Yeah, man. I mean, it sucks, but it's a reality, and no one really,
No,
and we all know someone, but it's just, no one really talks about it.
Well, no, and that's exactly it. It's one of the things that I like most about it is that it's just a direct spit in the face to essentially the conservative idea of the soldier.
Right.
Like, there's this pushed idea that, these are our heroes, our boys in blue, whatever. When most of those guys I knew, when they came back, I mean, no offense to your co-host here, generally were so fucked up they just kind of became scumbags.
Man, I think he's told me he's known some guys like that. They're so broken that they just fall into the drugs, and then the drugs is usually the beginning of a spiral, unfortunately. Right.
So, but no, man, I love the show.
Thank you.
It's definitely solid. I wish I had more time to listen to it more frequently, but unfortunately, due to my other podcast, I don't get to listen to all of the podcasts I want to.
Well, no, it's cool, man. Your other podcast, you like feature tons of podcasts, so I don't know. I can tell you listen to a lot of shows.
I've listened to a fuck ton of shows. That's very true. Liz doesn't listen to as many podcasts.
I do listen to The Status Quo, though. I heard your co-host on Felony Friday, and I was like, man, I should check out that podcast, and I really enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was cool of John to let him on there, too, because we were like, I don't know, we weren't trying to, like, steal his thunder, be like, oh, hey, we're going to promote our podcast, but, like, he does have, like,
that's the point in going on other people's shows, right? Just to promote.
Oh, yeah. I know. But like that show, it's like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're promoting much. They're just like, he's sharing stories of just random people.
But your story involves, we now have a show.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I mean, it's not like Rocky Fahrenberg doesn't talk about all the shit he's doing when he's on shows.
It's true.
So now your story is not the same as your partner's. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about how you kind of came to this whole thing?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up here in Columbus, Ohio, and then I'm now living in Newark. But I moved to Buffalo, New York when I was like 18. And
God, how exciting! What a place to be.
Yeah, it was pretty whatever. But I don't know. I started to get kind of like aware of my surroundings politically. Because my stepfather, he's like pretty constitutional, kind of conservative kind of guy. And at the same time, like secretly, we both just like started getting into guns. And we're like, wait, you're into guns? And the other's like, yeah. And we're like, oh, shit, okay. And then he started showing me, like, I really got into this stuff through like pretty traditional, like Ron Paul. And then I did go down the Alex Jones door for a while. But, after, and then I moved to Georgia a couple years later, and that's when I really started to, like, be aware of, like, just how involved the state is, because coming from New York, you couldn't even, like, own a gun. And that's kind of what started that whole thing, because they passed the New York SAFE Act when I lived in New York, which is, like, really fucking unconstitutional. You can't have more than like 7 rounds in your mag, and it's just like, I don't know. There was just a huge amounts of people in that part of the state who were like upset with that, and you only get the side of the state of New York City, so you don't really see the whole other side of upstate New York.
And to clarify, when he says people were upset, he means the county sheriffs were all refusing to enforce said SAFE Act.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Everyone hated it.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I went to a couple rallies. It was pretty crazy. That's what kind of sparked it off too. I was like, damn, there's like a lot of people who are like standing up to the state right now, and I kind of didn't realize there was a problem. Like, I was also like 18, 19, and I had public school education, so I didn't know really jack shit about my rights. So I don't know. I just kind of over the years, I just have done my research, read definitely,
nice,
read some Ron, but yeah, and then I moved back to Ohio, and I met Matt, my host, and we met at work, and we would just like, and it's funny because he's kind of like when I first met him, he was kind of like a centrist, like almost not a statist. He had like his doubts about the state, but he was like, well, yeah, you know, we kind of need net neutrality and stuff. And I'm like, and I was sort of like on the right. Like I was kind of like a constitutional conservative libertarian. Like I listened to Stapleton a lot back then.
Conservatarians.
Yeah. Which nothing against Stapleton. I just don't listen to his show that much anymore. But
I prefer it now, honestly.
You do?
Yeah, it's a self-help show now. So his shitty politics don't get in the way.
Right. I catch it every now and then.
And Matt is a crazy anarchist. So
I know. Yeah, his last name's like his last name on Facebook's like Rothbard. So it's like, all right.
I know what his real name is because he was on the show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even think half the show made it to the episode because we talked for 3 hours, and it was pretty crazy. Like we went way deep into the philosophy.
Yeah, that you did.
So that was fun. Right on, man. That's yeah, like I said, it is a pretty standard story for how you get to Liberty. But that's it's you know why it's pretty standard is because it seems to work.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems to get people there. So outside of your odd political leanings, what do you do?
Well, me and Matt work together. We're both mechanics. We work at a dealership. But
my dad totally owns a dealership.
Oh, he owns a dealership?
No, it's a joke. Sorry, it's an Aqua Teen Hunger Force reference.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit!
You remember the frat aliens? Dude, like my dad totally owns a dealership. He'll hook you up.
This guy at my work always shows me clips of that show really randomly.
He's like, you got that tattoo on the inside, so my dad wouldn't see it. Hurt like 10 bitches in a bitch bag. You young kids, you totally missed it. That show is responsible for ruining the attention span of my entire generation.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it, but I don't know. Maybe I was too young. It was on too late.
I'm sure. I mean, yeah. Based on your age, the way you're talking, probably, undoubtedly. Like we used to watch it in college and shit.
Yeah.
So we'd be up all night drinking and watching Aqua Teen. But you see, you're really what I was getting at was you're a guy who knows stuff about music, and so initially, why I was intrigued.
Yeah, man. I mean, I do. I produce. That's how I kind of got into the podcast thing because I've been writing and recording my own shit for a while.
He's like, I got all these all this equipment over here, and I'm not doing anything with it. That's exactly how I did this.
Yeah, dude, and it's. I mean, I just really like producing music. It's just so fun to me. Like, I prefer that over obviously. I think you still play live, or you do regularly, right?
I make money playing music. That's what I do.
Okay.
I do cover shows mostly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't really play around much anymore. I mean, I would, but I just.
No, I mean, when you can make $100 an hour doing that, then
for sure. No, that'd be fucking awesome.
Since I do, and that's what I do.
Oh man, that's wicked. So yeah, I started. I don't know. I just record my own shit. I had some pretty good software, and I just taught myself a bunch of stuff. Watched YouTube videos, but it started to sound pretty good. But yeah, I used to play in bands that you may have heard of. From Ohio, one that you were making fun of a little bit ago, Attack.
Attack, where you at?
Yeah. Yep.
I only make fun of them because I used to listen to them.
Nice.
I know. That's how it always goes. I mean,
the only reason I listened to that band, because I was way too old to listen to that band, is because they had a song called Stick Stickly. Referencing my 90s childhood. That's what was important about them. So Attack. What else you got under the belt?
Okay. I mean, that's like the biggest name. I mean, I left that band and I started playing with a band that I like really fucking loved called Tales of Iscariot. You may have heard of them, maybe not.
The name does sound familiar.
Yeah, we were like a local Columbus band. We didn't really. I mean, everyone in the band, like the thing about this whole scene, like the late aughts, is like everyone. There's just like a super close scene in Columbus, and like everyone knows each other, and like I don't know. I feel like every band who was around at that time got like famous. Like it's insane. Like Crimson Armada is from that.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I grew up. I used to skateboard with Kyle, like the guitar player of that band, and I know all the guys like very well. And like Moss to Flames is from Columbus. They spawned a little late. Like yeah, like that's.
This is hilarious.
Like
So we get to blame Columbus, Ohio for that whole thing happening.
You can blame, yeah. But the thing is, like, most of those bands are from Columbus, and then like the shitty ones are like from everywhere else. So who are trying to copy them.
That's hilarious.
That's the way I think of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't really follow the scene anymore. I just something I've noticed over the years. Like, why is like every band here? Like, God damn it! I was just talking to one of those guys. I don't know. I forget. There's a band who's like really big right now. Who's out there playing? Who's Columbus? I went to middle school with. Obviously, like Beartooth, Caleb, who used to be in Attack. I mean, they're huge. There's just like a lot of talent here, and people just know. I don't know. People just know how to market themselves. So it's just.
Well, you guys have a very, from what I understand, a very thriving arts community in general down there.
Yes, that is true. Like, there's a lot of appreciation for the arts and music in general. It like music of all types. Like I mean, jazz music. I mean, there's jazz festivals here. There's a lot of jazz drummers. I think that's probably why the bands are so good, because they do so well, because the drummers are all really good here.
Yeah, I'm using arts in quotations to describe anything resembling metalcore, just to be clear.
Yeah. Well, you know.
I hope that you guys all go on to form better bands. Is the real hope. You know, hopefully you guys are the next Polyphia, or you know, the Contortionist or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. I'm more like
you. What instruments do you play?
Mostly guitar. I mean, I played bass in Attack and Tales of Iscariot, but
okay.
But I play guitar. I mean, but I can, you know, I write all my own shit and record it. I mean, I make fake drums, samples and stuff like that. But you know,
and what do you plan on doing with that?
I don't know, man. Like, there's been when I lived in Buffalo for a little while. I mean, I definitely spread it around that I was like in Attack because I didn't know anyone. So I was just like, hey, I used to be in this band, and people were like, what, really? So like, I don't know. I got friends really quickly when I lived there, and I tried to become like a sort of composer / ghostwriter.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a cool idea. I worked with a producer down up there, but I ended up just like starting bands with people who wanted to buy my music. So it didn't really work out. But I was kind of thinking something like that, but I also don't think people want to buy music.
Yeah.
So especially music that's not that hard to write. Like My style is kind of more like my favorite band of all time is the Fall of Troy, and you can hear it in my writing. I hope.
Okay.
Nice.
Used to listen to the Fall of Troy back in the day.
Yeah, dude, I love them.
They were different, at least. It did not sound like every other band.
No, oh no, man, they're like experimental and like mathy and stuff. They're awesome.
That was my big beef with that whole scene. It's like you'd get a taste of where like they could get mathy, but so many of the bands just look, all right, well, let's just throw in a breakdown. Throw in a breakdown.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like when I think of like Dance Gavin Dance, you know,
like gross.
You don't like them?
No,
man, I think
everybody loves Dance Gavin Dance, and I never got it.
Okay, new Dance Gavin Dance. My girlfriend is obsessed, and she listens to them all the time. I don't know. It's not as good as the old stuff, but goddamn, is that guy catchy at singing? And goddamn, if I can't get that stuff out of my head.
It was Johnny Craig for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was the original.
He was in everybody's band for a while until you know his drug habit got in the way. Well, he kind of
their drug habit.
He kind of my whole problem with that whole scene in general was just everybody was on pills. But well, yeah, because he kind of was the first to start the whole hardcore metalcore is the new R&B for white people thing.
Yeah, he does have that like real soulful voice.
And don't get me wrong, I do think he's an unbelievable vocalist. He's just also an unbelievable piece of shit too.
Oh yeah, I've heard some stories, man, of like personal people that I know. It's like, man,
the epic laptop story is one that comes to mind.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man, what a piece of shit.
But yeah, because I was listening to the new. Have you listened to the new Issues album at all?
No, oh no, I have not.
They got like their screamers gone, and so it's literally just all the backup vocalist.
That's Tyler Carter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's just literally like listening to a Beyonce album with breakdowns, essentially. Like, don't get me wrong.
Okay,
I enjoy.
I gotta hear this.
But it's just all of that modern backup hardcore vocalist thing where they're just all singing like R&B music. Like, you know, it's so weird to me that like these two forms of music matched up. But then again, I think about, you know, growing up myself, and that was always the kind of music that I like. You know, I wanted to be Boys to Men and shit like that. So
I get that totally. Because like when the music I listen to, I mean, I listen to a shitload of stuff, but like I really like music that is just produced really well, and I'm like, man, I could do this or I could write this. That's kind of like more like what catches my ear now. I mean, it's so random too. Like last night, I went and saw like a reggae ska band. Like I don't listen to that shit, but it was fucking awesome.
Which band?
It was Bumpin' Uglies was the headliner.
That's a funny name.
Yeah, they were good though. And Rockstead, they were sweet. They were kind of like Incubus meets Tribal Seeds. Like I don't know.
Interesting.
It was good. The dude shreds.
Good old Incubus. What are they doing these days? I haven't paid attention to them since A Crow Left of the Murder. Which is back in 2003, so.
Yeah, fucking forever ago.
I know it was sophomore year of college.
Yeah, I saw the lead singer on YouTube doing something, and he looked old, and I was just weirded out.
He's very old.
Weirded out by it.
Jeez.
You would be.
It makes me feel old. 2003, man. I was like 12 years old. Today's actually my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
Yeah, I forgot to tell Liz that part. Oh yeah, we're leading off his birthday day, so don't be a shitty interview, Liz.
It's fine.
Nice.
So, do you have any intentions of kind of combining the whole Liberty thing with the music thing?
Yes and no. I mean, if the opportunity presents itself, yes. like I see there's a lot of musicians out like you, like people out there doing stuff like Cherry Voluntary and Luke. But I don't know. I mean,
oh man,
I kind of keep.
Do you participate in the? Do you participate in the Sounds Like Liberty discussion board at all?
No.
Because we, I mean, there's plenty more musicians out there. We got Matt Baldoni, who is a guitar player out in Las Vegas. I believe one of the bands he plays with the Australian Bee Gees show.
Oh, okay.
Amongst other things, JJ Boogie, we're friends with, who is the guitar player for Arrested Development.
Okay.
Yeah, you're probably too young to know who Arrested Development is, but they were a huge.
I know the TV show.
Yeah, they're a huge popular band back in the '90s. Have you ever heard the song Tennessee? Take me to another place, take me to another land. He's their current guitar player. Used to be their drummer.
Okay.
One of the people in the group is you know Kenny Loggins?
Yeah.
Kenny Loggins used to be in a group called Loggins and Messina, and that's kind of how he got famous. But the current saxophone player for Loggins and Messina is a guy that we know through all this stuff.
Okay.
There's a lot more musicians than you think that are hiding this shit under their vest, let me tell you.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I believe it. Even some of the guys I knew, I mean, I don't know, like Attack like took like a real, like right before they broke up, like they were all about like guns and stuff. And I was like, okay.
That's that whole scene, man. Literally all I remember about that scene was guns and pills. That was it.
Yeah, I didn't think guns was that prevalent.
Dude, everybody I knew was way into like big fucking guns.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I kind of always assume that's because I grew up in like, I don't know where you were up in Buffalo, but like I grew up in like down in Allegheny County.
Yeah.
And like all my friends were Cattaraugus County, so we're like right down in the sticks on the Pennsylvania border. So we were just all into guns anyways.
Right. Shit, dude. Hell yeah. Yeah, I was like right in the city of Buffalo. That whole area.
How did you like Buffalo?
I like it. I actually do like it. I don't like the government there. I don't like the laws.
I mean New York State laws just suck cocks in general.
But I do like it. I think it's kind of a picturesque kind of town in a way, but I mean, I think
New York in general is fucking beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, New York in fall is like no joke. But no, I fucking hate winter. I hate snow. Like it's literally like I would have stayed. I lived in Atlanta for a few years. I would have stayed there for the fact if there wasn't the Atlanta traffic, because that literally ruined my life. Other than that, it was like the perfect place.
And see, if it wasn't for the taxes and the politics, I'd fucking stay in New York. I love it.
Yeah.
I love winter. I'm looking for places that are more winter.
Really? Oh man. I cannot do that.
Oh,
I can't function, dude.
I mean, I'm walking around in flip-flops in the middle of winter though too.
Yeah, because you're weird.
I am weird. Anyone who listens to this show knows I'm weird.
This is true.
It's ridiculous.
Can't do it, man.
Hey, how's it going? Nikki P here. Want to support the show or just give a big middle finger to Patreon? Consider stopping over to supportSLL.com. Members of the Freedom Choir get access to the private Facebook group and actual physical merch. Want access to the unedited raw interviews as they're recorded way before they're released? It's in there. Is that not enough? And you want membership to Freedom Song 365? It's in there. There's even monthly bonus swag for top tier supporters. So head on over to supportsll.com. Help Liz and I get to libertarian functions and even just cover the costs of making the show. If I'm not a good enough salesman, how about this?
Support my mom and dad and Sounds Like Liberty. Go to supportsll.com.
You heard her, folks. Join the Freedom Choir at supportsll.com.
So you're over there being quiet as fuck today, man. What's going on?
I'm just listening. I'm listening to you guys talk about this scene because, like, I couldn't have been a scene kid. I was, in church and stuff. So
No. At this point in time, Liz, you were an adult.
Oh, I was probably still in church. To
you
be honest.
You were in your late 20s, like finishing off your first husband.
That was my mid 20s. Thank you very much. But yeah, no, the stories I've heard are pretty amazing.
Yeah, man, it was weird. It was a weird time, especially. Yeah, that's funny. You mentioned you were in church. I mean, wait, so were you into the music like that when you were in church, or?
I mean, I listened to like Kids in the Way and like all those bands that were like, we have Christian leanings, like we're kind of okay for all you kids to listen to.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I branched out of that band, because I don't know if you guys remember, Nick, if you remember, like Attack was kind of like marketing themselves as a Christian band.
I mean, it was a gimmick that a lot of bands tried.
I remember
never put any stock into it.
Dashboard Confessional was on that tip. Like there were a few.
Yeah,
you're talking a little bit earlier there.
Yeah, I figured.
Fucking old lady.
We all know I'm older. Anyways.
You're not younger than me.
I don't know. I just thought that was really phony, though. Even as a 16-year-old who wanted to like get famous, I was like,
look, we all watched the episode of South Park. Cartman had it right. Like we got it.
Yeah.
we all tried it and saw if it would work. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I've thought many points in my career. Why don't I just go and
pretend to be a Christian man? Yeah.
Yeah. I would be found out very, very quickly.
Yeah, but it's funny, like, here past that, but like when you're actually on stage and there's people like with their hands raised up, like, like you're a prophet, or like Austin Carlisle's like saying stuff that's like, dude, you do not like act this way, and personally, like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that was
it just got really creepy. I'm like, I don't want these kids to like think I'm something I'm not.
Isn't that? I mean, that whole thing's kind of due to the Chariot, isn't it? Because like,
what's that?
I said, that whole like thing is kind of due to the Chariot, isn't it? Where like they came out and were just like the hardest, most insane like fucking band in the genre, and they were like super hardcore Christian.
Yeah, I don't know if I can speak on that. I mean, that's probably potentially where it spawned from, but it was literally just. It was as shallow as the fact that like we were talking to Rise Records, who was like only signing Christian metal bands. So we were just like, oh, we're a Christian band too. Like a couple of our members were like pretty devout Christians, so we were like, there it works, like Christians. Like a couple of us were like, just 16-year-old kids who were like trying to, drink.
I want to play music.
Yeah, smoke cigs and like hook up with girls or whatever, and like. We definitely were not living like the lifestyle that we were like preaching. Yeah. I after a while, I was like, this is too lame. Like, I don't really believe this. I was in like my first like relationship with a girl, and that was kind of there was just a whole mesh of things. I was a 16-year-old kid. I was not going to school. I was like, I was just like skipping school, playing shows, It was a confusing time, and
it sounds like you had a good fun time, though.
It was very fun. But I don't know. It was fun, and sometimes I'm like, man, what if I would have stayed in the band? I'd be pretty loaded, but I don't
you'd
know.
be a raging pillhead by now. I know that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, been there, done that.
It's a step I know plenty of people have taken. I've never understood it. Like
no,
the whole pills thing's never appealed to me. I mean, the whole drugs thing is barely appealed to me. Like, unless I'm going to go on some type of adventure. Like, I don't get the point in drugs. But if they'll take me on an adventure, I'm all about them. So, like, it's basically psychedelics.
There you go. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, it's so cheesy. Like, the area I grew up in Columbus, like, people were, like, serious drug users. Like, I'm like, kids are, like, selling weed and, like, coke and stuff. I'm like, dude, can't you just fucking do something normal like a normal kid? But that's, like, people were, like, fucking serious about it. Like, people were, like, gangsters, even though it was, like, a nice suburb, you know?
Yeah.
It's just so cheesy.
Interesting. Oh man, I'm getting messages from people talking about Boris.
Who the heck is Boris?
Boris is a sweet fucking fuzzed out doomy Japanese guitar band. They have a chick guitar player too.
Oh, okay. Dig
Dude,
it.
hell yeah.
Like as long as I've known them, they've been like a 3-piece, but like crazy heavy.
Nice.
Plus,
Fuck yeah, I'm about to listen to them.
plus hot Asian lady plays guitar.
Also,
Like,
no
and I'm
complaints.
pretty sure like she's like a mom with a bunch of kids too, which makes it even better.
That's amazing.
That's like totally my MO.
Asian mom with a bunch of kids.
Pretty much, yeah. That's,
Well,
that's
just-
how he rolls.
Mom with a bunch of kids. It's kind of been like my thing for a long time.
All right, man.
So on the back to I guess the politics thing.
Sure.
Now I feel I stumbled across you in like the Tom Woods group. I feel like is that correct or where did
Yeah,
you
most
meet?
likely. That's probably it, man. I've been pretty active in there since I joined. Yeah, we comment on each other's shit all the time.
I talk to anytime I see someone is doing a podcast. I always talk to them so I can
Yeah, man.
put them on the podcast about podcasts,
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
which I just released.
I love that podcast too. By the way, I've like discovered so many. Well, you discovered them for me, but I've listened to so many of those podcasts. I'm not Christopher Columbus, right? Discovered. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
I mean, it's whatever. I mean, the whole point is just to get people to listen to stuff because I mean, dude, there's so many of them, and people don't know.
Yeah, man.
And like the way I've been doing it is like I do the 5 new ones an episode. Eventually, I'll probably start mixing it up a little bit more. But I just at this point, I kind of want to make sure that everybody gets heard, and gets their shot in the limelight. So you can start from episode number 1. And like just work your way forward, and you're just every there's gonna be no repeats. It's just new podcasts.
Yeah, and that's so cool. There's so many. Like, I don't know.
Have you
like.
gotten on Liberty Podcast Ranker yet?
We're on some ranker right now. I forget what it is.
You guys are on there.
Yeah.
You guys should probably be telling your people to go on there and upvote you though.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Because I know I've been upvoting you, but
Yeah. I forgot, man. I saw it like a week or two ago.
stop
like,
fucking forgetting about it, man. Spread the goddamn word. That's all this bullshit. Like, everybody forgets. Oh, I forgot about this shit. Are we forgetting? Fucking go and show your other libertarians some love. Let's make this shit huge. I mean, it's completely a self-indulgent thing that I want this to be bigger because like I want more libertarians to talk to.
There you go.
And hang out with.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I just booked an interview yesterday with an author.
No shit. Who?
I can't remember.
Or you cannot say.
No, I can't remember his name offhand. Like, because I saw the Twitter profile. And the Twitter profile is the book it's called Brushfire.
Okay.
It's a thriller novel or whatever.
Ooh.
But it's on Liberty Under Attack Publications, which is and I'm talking to like the guy after the fact, set up the interview, and I was kind of I'm reading the synopsis of the book. And the first thing I notice is he's talking about I-77. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, wait, yeah. And I'm like, where do you live? And he's like, Cleveland.
Oh, weird.
And I'm like, what? I live in Cleveland.
That's awesome. Are you going to come in studio?
I did not bridge that gap. I'm not entirely sure he's not a Fed because I'm not entirely sure anyone's not a Fed.
Well, there is that.
True.
And I've got a kid here, so I don't know that I want to introduce anyone to Feds. But
yeah,
perhaps we'll hang out and have a drink sometime. He also said he lives down in like the West Flats. So I'm like, he clearly makes a ton of money doing something.
It's usually really expensive or, you live in a box down there, so.
Well, he was on the internet, so I don't know if he lives in a box. Perhaps not.
Yeah, I used to live near. Well, I don't want to. Like, what part of Cleveland do you guys say?
We live in
on
West Park.
Yeah, we're on the west side.
Oh, okay. I was born in Medina County, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not that far.
Yeah, it's our friend Trisha lives down there, right?
Probably.
Like in Medina.
Oh, yeah.
You follow Trisha over at Gingerarchy?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm Facebook friends with her and follow her. And
well, everyone is Facebook friends with Trisha.
She's adorable.
No, I've been listening to her shows and stuff. She's pretty good, man. I like her shows.
She's fun.
She has to say. She's cool.
and I know she doesn't have time to listen to the show, but
yeah,
just so we all know, I have that first episode that she came on.
That we're never releasing.
Look, I will release it when I feel like releasing it.
But yeah, no, she's good people for sure.
You know, if she didn't want to release, she shouldn't have came on the show and had a bunch of nervous drinks.
You're just silly.
It was hilarious, though.
Don't feel bad. I'm having a nervous drink right now.
There you go.
Just so everyone knows, it is not an appropriate time to be having a nervous drink. I fully support it. You live your best life.
Hey, hold on. You have a nervous drink when you're nervous. That's how this works.
No, it's more of a hair of the dog scenario for me.
Right on. So this is like the mimosa the morning after, just to keep you going.
Yes.
Right.
By mimosa, you mean mango White Claw.
Oh, geez, really?
Yeah, that's all I had, man. I feel like it's like replenishing like all of my set. Like it's.
Are you a fucking 40-year-old woman?
I just don't get the White Claw thing, honestly. I'm like, I like.
I don't. Yeah, I don't get it either.
I'd love it. I know I would.
I don't get it, but it's. I feel like healthier now that I'm drinking.
Well, there you go. What are you gonna?
He's like, I could be drinking whiskey, but I'm drinking White Claw.
Right. There's actual water in this somewhere.
I ain't got the balls for blades of bullets. We keep my finger on the trigger, I'm going to bullet. Build up a lace, I don't like heights. Show me how to stop me as a turn until I die.
There actually isn't. It's
no.
It's a brewed beverage.
Oh, that's right. They had to do that to get around.
Yeah, if you ever want to
legislation.
Yeah, if you ever want to listen to an interesting story about, with a libertarian theme, listen to the White Claw story and how that shit came to be.
Really?
Actually, there's an episode of the Reason podcast. No, I think it's Cato Daily. It might be, where they talk about it. And essentially, the reason White Claw exists is because they're not allowed to sell mixed drinks in cans. And so White Claw, the company that makes it, came out with a process to actually brew the drink using sugar as opposed to hops.
Yeah.
And so they basically they went and found a way to brew a mixed drink so that it doesn't meet it meets the legal requirements of the drink, that the government can't outlaw it, or whatever was outlawed, it doesn't meet the minimum speculation or minimum rules for that. So
right.
So White Claw is we owe its existence entirely to government overreach.
There you go.
So that could be a good or bad thing,
I mean, it's a bad thing that the overreach is there, but apparently, according to the World this summer, it seems that everyone is more excited White Claw exists.
It was a thing we didn't know we needed.
I guess. But then again, LaCroix is kind of popular, so.
This is true.
See, I know all those things because, my grandparents used to drink that shit. And, I'd always go over and hang out with my grandparents, and I'm like, Grandma, do you have any soda that's not fucking LaCroix in the house? And she didn't. It was all LaCroix.
Mm-hmm.
So, right on, boss. Well, is there any more proselytization you'd like to do while we have you on?
But I mean,
where are you selling your music at?
Not selling it. I'm just hoarding it on SoundCloud.
Oh, okay.
Some stuff, I went through a really weird because the program I use is called Ableton Live. You probably know of it. Something a lot of electronic musicians use. So I went through a little dubstep phase, which is really goofy to hear. So there's a lot of electronic.
No, it just means you're in your 20s.
Yeah. But pretty much. And I'm exiting my 20s in a year, so I'm kind of embarrassed about all the music I wrote like that, but I'm also kind of like, I don't know. So like, it's just fun to produce. I mean, producing is just the funnest thing to me. I have a buddy who's like insanely good now at all that stuff. Like fucking pro, and like
he got super tight at wobble bass that nobody uses anymore.
Yeah, he's like weirdly like talking to like all these like bigger DJs, like, and he's like kind of a recluse too, so it's kind of funny. But
well, no, it's funny that while you describe that, I think of my old guitar player in Carried by Six, and like he was in all the message board groups with all of the producers for all of the modern metal acts, like. So like he was getting sample packs for like Machine Head and shit like that.
Oh yeah,
because he was I think a moderator in like one of the home recording groups, and a lot of those guys started out there, and eventually they went on, produced some big albums, and now they own their own studios and stuff. But they're all like they're still members of the groups to kind of help out the newbies. But so you listen to him talk to all these guys about producing, like they're like big name like metal producers and shit, and he's just this fucking dude that lives in an apartment.
Yeah,
and he just records his bands. I stand by it. That record turned out great.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's awesome.
I used to be a metal musician once upon a time. I don't know what I am anymore. I just like to sing. So
that's good, man. That's one thing you don't catch me doing much of.
Why not?
I don't know, man. I don't think I have a great voice. When I'm drinking, I'll like.
Neither does Bob Dylan.
That's true, and I don't want to.
He's famous as hell too.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh my god! Thanks for ruining Bob Dylan for me.
Oh jeez.
If Bob Dylan didn't ruin himself for you, I don't know what my impeccable performance just would have done. It would have just sounded exactly like Bob Dylan. You're like, I mean that's what it sounds like. Maybe I should go listen to some Bob Dylan. I'm in the mood for that right now.
You're ridiculous. We were getting plugs before.
I'm sorry. I like to interrupt plugs.
All distracted.
I like the plugs to take longer. So what do you got? You guys got the statusquo.com?
Yes. Well, no, it's the statusquo.net. I couldn't get the .com domain.
Okay. Have you checked back recently?
No, I haven't.
Always check back every couple months because you'd be surprised. I know.
Some dude just like had it and like not doing anything.
When we started this, we couldn't get soundslikeliberty.com, and so we ended up getting soundslikelibertypodcast.com.
Yeah.
And then my friend Daniel texted me. He's like, "Hey man, do you want soundslikeliberty.com?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it wasn't available." He's like, "Well, it is now."
Dude.
And so it kind of came back on the market, and we picked it back up. A lot of times those things, like someone will just get it and then never do anything with it.
That's exactly this situation. Yeah.
And so like, you like I said, every couple months, just check back on, and it might open up, and then you've got your .com again. If you don't care,
like I don't know who, and like I don't even know who would buy it. Like Jeffrey Tucker, I don't know. Like,
oh no, dude, URLs like you know how many URLs I fucking own?
Yeah, that's true. I heard.
Like I own ANCAPmusic.com, I own LibertarianMusic.com. Like,
damn, dude.
Like
you're like just competing with Tom Woods there.
Yeah,
well, that's exactly it. I'm like, well, yeah, why wouldn't I own this? You type in libertarianmusic.com, it comes to my podcast.
That's smart, man.
Now I don't know how many people actually plug that in at all, but it's there if it ever becomes a thing.
Yeah.
I think for my Free Markets Green Earth, I've got your friends are wrong about the environment, or I think it's wrongabouttheenvironment.com.
Dude, I'm surprised Woods doesn't own that.
Right?
Oh, I snatched it the fuck up, and
he's probably pissed. God damn it. I need that.
That's going to be my ebook.
Well, he hasn't released that ebook yet, and if he ever does, Because all he has to do is beat me to it. We're gonna make our own version of it.
It's like he's king of the airport. You're king of the environment.
I do like talking about it. I like talking about it because the commies are wrong.
I know, dude. Yeah, I need to listen to that show more. I was listening to that not too long ago, but like that is such an important like it's so important that someone's doing a show like that.
We just did an episode on Pornhub. I was pretty happy about that.
There you go.
If you didn't know this, Pornhub does a lot of I won't say charity work, but
yeah,
a lot of charitable work.
I definitely heard about that thing a couple years ago about the panda sex like videos.
Oh no, I didn't hear about that.
I hadn't heard about pandas, but they just started a new thing called Bisexual, and it's to save the bees.
Okay. Well, I saw that. You don't remember the thing a few years ago where like people were supposed to dress up like pandas and have sex because that arouses the male panda to bang the female panda.
No, but that's hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah, no, look that up. And Pornhub, I think, was like.
I mean, it's totally on brand for them.
Yeah.
So random.
It is random, but I think like the panda's endangered, so they're like
right.
I think it worked.
I love every time I think about that. I just think about that moment in Fight Club where he's just talking for every panda that wouldn't fuck to save its species.
That movie aged weird with me.
Why is that?
Because man, I used to love it when I was younger. Now it's like cheesy.
I mean, I've read the book, and I've met the guy who wrote it.
Oh no shit!
My one professor, my English professor, freshman year of college, was obsessed with him, and so she had him come to do a speech and stuff to the school. He's a fucking weird bird. I'll tell you that much.
That's not terribly surprising.
Fight Club's not even my favorite book by him though either.
Yeah,
I really liked his book Invisible Monsters.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that one's super weird. It's about like identical twins. Or not identical twins. It's about like twins. One of them's a boy and one of them's a girl. And like the boy ends up like after a horrible accident where his sister is like, I don't think she dies, but she's permanently maimed and she was a model. Like he takes over her modeling career.
Oh shit. That sounds interesting.
It's crazy interesting. It's also crazy. But
yeah.
But that's kind of his MO, so.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, right on, boss. I have to get to work, but it has been a fun conversation. I'm glad you finally got you on. And when Matt's ready, you can come on and I'll poke fun at him for a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
He's all over the place, so.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know, man. He was kind of like, I don't know. We both kind of walked into this like, not knowing what to do, kind of. I had a little more because like networking with podcasting kind of reminds me of networking as like a band on MySpace, which it just really like it's so smooth to me. But
it's pretty similar.
Yeah, now he was kind of shy. Now he's like out there, like talking out. He's more like in the like ex-military scene. So, but that's cool. That's really cool. There's a lot of those guys out there who are like talking now.
Well, no, I'm glad that they're connecting with each other is the more important thing. I've always known that was a particular sect of libertarianism, but now that those guys are actually together, I'd like to see that movement start growing in a big way.
Yeah, me too, man.
I mean, they're all going to die when the government comes and sees that they're growing and wants to put that shit down, but in the meantime, they're drawing attention away from me, so... So right on, boss. The Status Quo, everybody, go check them out. I'm a fan. It's a great podcast. Matt's and I won't say a fun dude because he gets all fire and brimstoney and shit sometimes, but it's got a hell of a story. So thanks for coming on, Nick.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Peace.
People turning dark. I won't forget what it's like to be young.
oddball shit, Liz. That's what they're voting for on voting day.
So many bands for me to go look up now.
There are a lot of bands to look up for now.
Which is always exciting for me.
I'm sure it is. It's just another thing for me to do when it happens. It was a lot of fun talking to Nick. I will say that. Got to nerd out a little bit.
Yep.
And he does have a great podcast over there.
Yeah, actually, I'm a big fan of the Status Quo.
I'm going to get his partner on at some point.
That would be super.
I think he doesn't want to talk to me because I'm not a soldier.
I mean,
none of the soldiers ever get back to me. Biting the bullet guys, they haven't gotten back to me yet. Like they're like, oh yeah, and then it just never happens. I'll be salty about it.
I mean,
I still listen religiously.
It could still happen.
Maybe.
And yeah, we'll still listen to their shows because they're ridiculously interesting.
I'm not petty like that. I'm petty in other ways.
Speaking of,
petty
no, never mind.
AF.
Never mind. I'm just gonna let that go.
Yeah, it was another fun show, I think. As always, like I said, go stop at soundslike.liberty.com. Check us out. Support the show. Read the show notes. Liz puts a lot of work into the show notes for me. Let's what podcast do we want to give a shout out to today? What's a good one?
Well, let me think here. Gotta look at my feed.
She's taking too long in this, so we're gonna go with the Artificially Intelligent podcast.
I like that one. That one worked.
It's a good, solid podcast. I enjoy it. It gets pretty. What's the word I'm looking for here? It gets really thinky.
I like thinky.
Thinky
is fun.
Very, very thinky. So, anyways, we're not going to belabor this because we're in Florida. And we're just kind of tagging this ending on before we go.
Okay. Way to ruin the illusion.
There's no illusions, Liz. I believe we started it out with we're in Florida and the world didn't blow up.
Yet.
I guess it's entirely possible.
Yeah, no, it's not going to. We're going to be fine. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.
Peace.